Hey guys, it is Nick here with another Nick's Topics Walking Dead What If topic video for today. And today, we are getting into part 5 of another one of my Walking Dead series on this channel. And this one was recommended to me by KingLock305. It is, What If Amy Survived in The Walking Dead? Now, initially, for those of you who don't know who Amy is, I don't know, anyone who hasn't seen The Walking Dead or just new to this what if for the character in general, Amy is Andrea's younger sister who died in season 1 in the original. Now, I put this one off for the longest time, but as you've seen from the first 4 parts, Amy's character development has not only affected herself, but it's also affected Andrea, who got to live longer, even to Alexandria. Also affecting Dale's character too, making him live longer. Sadly though, he passed in part 3, dying to the Claimers. But a lot of other people got to live so far too. Merle being one of them, getting to be around his brother more. But, there's another key thing I want to point out. His impact wouldn't have an impact on Beth and Daryl's relationship. Now, in my What If Rick Didn't Kill Shane, I didn't explore the relationship. Well, that mainly was the first series I started. But in this What If, I'm going to have Beth and Daryl's relationship mean more here. And I'd say around all the time that they have been spending together, that they actually have a kid. Now, due to the research I've found and information, the kid would look like this, and her name would be Katniss. Now, this is, obviously, we never saw a kid like this, and this is just, like, hypothetical stuff, really. Anything could happen. And, honestly, it's not really a bad depiction of what we could possibly see Daryl and Beth's kid look like in a parallel universe. Because I feel like this would have happened, and I just didn't explore it that much. Tyrese also gets to live longer than he did in the original, too. Living to Alexandria as well, among others. Bob being another one of them, being picked up with the group on their way with Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita to Washington. And T-Dog also got to live to Alexandria, but sadly was offed in the last part. And I'll explain more on that in a minute here. But, let's recap. So, on the last episode, the entire group consisting of way more people was stuck at the barn, where we meet Aaron for the first time. Now, as we all know from Aaron, he introduces us to the Alexandria safe zone, where all the people are interviewed by Deanna, and everything pretty much goes the exact same way starting up that it did per the normal. But this time, Rick was the only one to have the police uniform, because we don't have no Michonne, and honestly, there'd be no other person to wear it, honestly. Another notable change we see is Carol and Sam's, talks. Because of Carol's character development not being as significant, Carol doesn't threaten Sam here, and that's going to mean more soon. Now, for Aiden's supply group, and that whole thing going on, when it comes to, Aiden's death and everything, that's another notable change. The group now consists of Aiden, Nicholas, Glenn, Tyrese, Bob, and T-Dog. Because there's no Tara or Noah here, and I just feel that that would be a reasonable group. T-Dog is the one to die here after Nicholas pushes his way out. And this is where T-Dog gets killed. Living a lot longer than I ever made him in any of my other what-ifs, except my what if Shane killed Rick scenario, where T-Dog is still alive. Anyway, the one to get injured instead of Tara this time is Tyrese. But he's a pretty tough guy. So I don't think that the explosion here would have as big an impact on Tyrese, and Eugene wouldn't really have to help him out too much. But considering the fact that Glenn knew T-Dog from the beginning and it wasn't as significant as Noah's death, Glenn would kill Nicholas here. And that's another notable change. Not a big one, per se, but just know that most definitely, Glenn would kill Nicholas here, because T-Dog was a friend. Like, he knew him since the start. Now, everything back at the Alexandria safe zone, that all goes down per normal. Pete comes out, Reg dies, Rick kills Pete, and Ron still hates him. Now, to finish the recap of the last episode, the truck crashes into the Alexandria compound, because, of course, we get the time skip and then the thing with the wolves. So the truck crashes in to Alexandria, and the wolves attack, led by Owen. Now, this is where we start to see things realigning themselves to this episode. The recap's over. Now, the wolves attack, and there is going to be one important person dying here. While everyone else is fighting the wolves, Amy's getting attacked. But right whenever she is losing ground or about to get killed, Andrea steps in and takes the shot and basically sacrifices herself. The same way Dale did, saving Amy. Andrea sacrificed herself for her sister. Now, this is very important to note here, because Andrea's death might seem like I'm just making her die for absolutely no reason, but it affects more than you know. Amy's character, because this is where we would see a darker persona of Amy. Because if you don't know Amy, you know she was like carefree, a child, basically. Think of like Mika in a way, but kind of the same. But after the death of Dale and now her own sister, this puts Amy almost on the set of a warpath, but not entirely. But it's pretty dang close. She vengefully attacks the wolves who killed her sister. In the meantime, we also get another casualty. Bob would be another one to die here. And while all that's going on, everything that went on, like, per the normal would still go the same. Glenn would be, like, basically on his own, since there's no Nicholas, which would mean that he wouldn't really have much a problem, because he wouldn't have to worry about, like, Nicholas and everything else. And he and Enid would still have their, talk and everything else. I still feel like that would play out the exact same way. Meanwhile, another notable change happens. Dwight. Now, taking a page out of my what if Rick didn't kill Shane, because this is the most logical way to go about things, but I'm going to go more in depth this time. Daryl is still going to meet Dwight, Sherry, and Tina, but Merle is there also. So Dwight would most certainly, possibly, definitely die. Because if Dwight did sneak up on just... he wouldn't even be able to sneak up on Daryl because Merle's there too. So Merle would most likely just get the jump on Dwight, if anything. As for Sherry and Tina, I don't think they most certainly would not get killed here, because I don't think that Daryl and Merle would go to the extreme of killing them, because they didn't even do anything. They didn't try to attack them. So they would get spared. All the while, the wolves, or what's left of them, have all been killed. But just then, the clock tower falls, and the Horde invades Alexandria. And that pretty much plays out how you would think. But here's another notable change. Because of Carol's character development, and that's a tongue twister, kind of, I don't think she would be so insistent on wanting to kill Morgan here. So if she did come in, Morgan would be able to knock her out much more easily, or get her on her side. But then we get Eugene and Rosita coming in because there's no Tara. But there is a third person, though. You want to know who it is? Amy. Amy would be the third person. And once she sees what everyone else sees, the wolf, Owen, the one who caused all this mess, she puts a bullet right through his head, surprising everyone. Morgan being like the most upset about this, but everyone is just shocked. And then she tells everyone what happened and that this guy was in charge of the men who killed her sister. And like I said, this is a major character development for Amy's cause, which means we also would get to know Owen and Denise, and we'd never see Owen really changing. But we do see Amy changing, and that's got to count for something. And it might just seem like Amy's not getting... If you guys weren't wondering why Amy wasn't being brought up as much, well, this episode's clearly for you. Meanwhile, the group advancing out to the Horde is still the same. Rick, Jesse, Sam, Ron, Father Gabriel, except there's no Michonne this time. And with Sam's character development, he and Jesse might actually both be willing to go with Father Gabriel. So they get to live. I'll talk about that more in a minute. Then we get to a problem. A big, big problem. With no one really there to stop him, would Ron still go about killing Rick? Since his mother didn't die here? I still most definitely think so. But who would stop him? Well, I think that Carl would still get into one final tussle with Ron. This time, putting a bullet through his head or a knife or at least something. Because I think that if Carl and Rick were just alone here, I definitely think that Ron would die here. Which also means Carl would not lose his eye here, as I've done in previous stories before. I just feel like this is the most obvious thing that I could think of. Otherwise, I would have just said that Ron kills Rick. Or Rick just dodges the shot, honestly. Because of this, and Jesse and Sam both living, because of both their character developments being way different, that means Rick and Jesse actually get to pursue a relationship. But that'll be covered in a later episode. Meanwhile, a certain group meets our heroes on the road and says that their property now belongs to Negan. And I think that that's where we're going to be ending things for right now. Now, what did you guys think about this episode? Do you guys think that things could have gone down this way? What do you think could have happened with the events that I transcribed today? I hope that you guys enjoyed the episode. And I hope that you are enjoying my What If Amy Survived in general. This episode, 2 characters died, those being Andrea and Bob, but I still think that Amy matters in the long run, and she's going to have her character development now as basically a killer is going to have significant changes later down the line. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys on the next one.